There is a particular thing that happens the day after a relationship goes well. You had the good night, the conversation that actually went somewhere. They said something warm, and they meant it, and you felt it land in your chest, and then, somewhere in the next 2 or 3 days, you go cold. You take longer to reply than you need to. You get short with them over something that does not matter. You say the slightly cruel thing, and you watch their face to see what it does. You are not trying to end it. You are trying to find out if it is real. There is research on this, and it is older than you would expect. In 1984, 2 communication researchers sat down with 181 people. They mapped the strategies we use to find out where we stand with someone, without ever asking the question. They called them secret tests, and one of the categories they found has a name that will sound uncomfortably familiar. The endurance test. It comes in 3 forms: making a request that costs your partner a great deal of effort, criticizing yourself until you are exhausting to be around, and behaving badly toward the person, and seeing how much of it they will absorb without complaining. The logic underneath it is almost touching. If they stay through the worst version of me, the good version must be safe. To understand why anyone runs that experiment on someone they love, you have to understand one thing. 2 opposite things can be true in one nervous system at once. Researchers measure attachment on 2 dials. One is how much you fear someone will not be there. The other is how much you keep distance so you never have to need them. Most insecure people are turned up on one dial. Some are turned up on both. That is a genuinely strange place to live because both strategies fire at once. Half of you is reaching. Half of you is already pulling back. To the person across from you, that reads as hot and cold. What it actually is 2 alarm systems going off in the same room. Where does the second dial come from? From learning. If a caregiver responded warmly sometimes and not other times with no pattern you could work out, you were on what psychologists call intermittent reward. The same schedule that makes a slot machine hard to walk away from. It teaches you that loud, urgent bids for closeness sometimes work, so you never quite stop making them. But if closeness was also, at times, the thing that got you hurt or frightened, you learn a second lesson on top of the first, that the person you would run to is the same person you would run from. And that is what the cold 2 or 3 days actually are. Not indifference, not a change of heart. It is the second lesson arriving late after the first has carried you in close. You reached. Then something registered how exposed you had made yourself and pulled the shutters down. Attachment researchers have a name for that bind. They call it fright without solution because no move resolves it. Approaching does not help. Neither does pulling away, and it is not rare. About 1 in 7 infants in ordinary community samples show it, and what predicts it is not coldness or neglect, but a caregiver who is frightened or frightening. Now, here is the part most videos about this will not tell you. None of that is destiny. When researchers have tracked people from infancy into their late teens, the link between early and later attachment is real, but moderate, nowhere near a straight line. And in 2017, a group of the field's leading researchers published a statement. It warned against reading these childhood categories onto individuals as a diagnosis. What you learned early is a tendency, it is not a sentence, but it is a tendency with a cost, and the cost is measurable. Psychologists call it rejection sensitivity, the disposition to anxiously expect rejection and to see it fast even where it is not there. In one study, researchers videotaped dating couples working through an unresolved disagreement and coded every behavior. The women who scored high on rejection sensitivity used a hostile tone of voice more often. They denied responsibility. They mocked or demeaned their partner, and afterwards, their partners reported more resentment toward the relationship. About half of it explained by those behaviors. Then the researchers waited a year. 44% of the couples that included a highly rejection-sensitive woman had broken up. Among the couples without one, 15%, men high in rejection sensitivity reached the same place by a different route. One rejection-sensitive person in a couple made a breakup within that year nearly 3 times more likely. The fear of being rejected produced the rejection, not as a punishment, as a consequence. And here is the thing about the test itself. It cannot work, not because your partner will fail it, because you have designed it so that no result counts as evidence. If they leave, you were right about them. If they stay, they were only tolerating you or have not seen the real thing yet. So you raise the difficulty and run it again. There is no answer they can give you inside that structure. You're asking a question in a language that has no word for yes. The uncomfortable part is that the reassurance you are chasing is available. It just has to be asked for directly, and the asking is a far smaller thing than the test. Researchers once had people record their conversations as they happened. Across nearly 1,500 of them, what predicted closeness was not disclosing facts, it was disclosing feeling. And what turned that into intimacy was whether the other person seemed to actually receive it. Which means the sentence that does the work is not a test. It is closer to this. Last night was good, and good things make me nervous. That is a sentence someone can respond to. The silence, the sharpness, the 3-day retreat, those are not. And this does move. In a randomized trial, patients spent a year in one form of therapy. One focused on the relationship between patient and therapist. By the end of it, they were significantly more likely to be securely attached. 2 other treatments in the same trial did not shift it, so not everything works. But something does. Researchers stopped treating attachment as a fixed trait long ago. It changes, not by deciding to trust people. Deciding does nothing. By running one small experiment in the other direction and letting it be answered, say the thing you were about to test them on. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If this video gave you something to think about, do one small thing. Subscribe to Cool My Mind Psychology. Every video here unpacks the hidden psychology behind how we think, feel, and act, and subscribing is how you'll never miss the next one. Take care of your mind, and I will see you in the next video.